All right, so we're talking to Dan Donegan from Disturbed. Welcome to the program, Dan. Good to have you here today.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So the new album coming out today. How many albums is that for you guys? I mean, that's like 8, 9, 7?
Eight studio albums, so not counting the B-side album or a couple live albums.
Live
but yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
Studio. Yep.
Yeah. So tell me about this album. I got the album. I was listening to the whole thing. This is like where it's one of the days where it's cool to be a radio guy. I have the Disturbed album before everybody else. 10 tracks. Tell me about the album and what it's going to sound like for Disturbed fans.
We're just excited to be back after this 4 years, I think, since the last album. And obviously after this lockdown and getting back, getting the machine going again. And it's going to be heavier. It's kind of going back to the old school Disturbed, like big guitar riff, syncopated drums, more animalistic David, a lot of those signature elements that were from the Sickness days or 10,000 Fist era. And then, we worked with the new producer, Drew Falk, who's amazing young talent. He's done some great stuff with bands like Motionless in White and Wage War and a couple, one-off songs with like Papa Roach and Pop Evil, and just a great guy, a great chemistry between him and I when we were in the studio, just on the production end of things. He just brings a fresher, new element to his production that I thought, married with the Disturbed signature sound, is going to sound exciting. So we really, I think, hit it out of the park with this combination of working with him.
I noticed that with the stuff I got to listen to, that it did sound a little bit more like old school Disturbed, and I'm an old school Disturbed guy. I'm that's
pretty good. Pretty good.
I've actually sung that with 3 bands. I do down with this. I can't do the melodic singing part, so I have the singer of the band do the singing parts, and I do the angry stuff. And then when it gets to the rap, I've replaced the mommy stuff with Green Eggs and Ham, which works perfectly. I told Dave this story once. We were having dinner in Minneapolis, a record company thing or whatever. And then we saw the band the next night, and I kind of half thought maybe he'd go out and do Green Eggs and Ham, but he did not.
Well, thanks for planting that seed, because now it's next time I play that song, that's going to pop in my head when it comes there. I'm going to be thinking Green Eggs and Ham.
I do not like your Green Eggs and Ham. I do not like you, Sam. I am. I will not eat them here and there. It works perfectly. I've done it with 3 bands, so I'm sorry for screwing that up for you.
Yeah, now it's there forever.
Yeah, but I like my Disturbed that way, and not to throw shade. Sounds of Silence, when Dave did that, man, there were people who were not the Disturbed camp who were like, what is this? This is spectacular. I love this. And people just loved that song, and it brought people into Disturbed who maybe would not have been a fan of the band before. Right. But it pissed me off because I'm an angry Disturbed guy. That was a great song, but it just, to me, it was like, I want hard rock and Disturbed. And with the new album, it's back. It's more in your face and loud and, just hitting it.
Yeah. Well, we knew even when we were doing, Sound of Silence or even Evolution, last album that was half acoustic. I mean, look, with all due respect, I'm not looking to please you or anybody else.
Right. Right.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, everybody could choose what they like and what they don't like. I mean, there's certain Metallica songs I don't like, but, for us, it was a creative outlet just to show different flavors of the band and different sides, and for us to push each other, musically and creatively. And we did that. We did that with Evolution too, with the acoustic stuff. But, going back, and this is the core of the band. This is going back to the roots of the band of yes, we prefer the heavier guitars, the syncopated drums, the animalistic David. So, we're never going to lose those elements. We may, take a departure here and there just to keep people guessing. We don't want to be predictable throughout our career. So we're going to always push each other. And, but yeah, we get it. We get and understand it. A bulk of our fan base is there because of the original sound. I mean, that's what puts on the map in the first place. And that's what we like too. So, but yeah, at least this album, you're going to get, 9 out of 10 tracks that are heavier and sludgier and more animalistic, with one power ballad on there. I
Let's
guess.
talk about that. Is you're talking about the Ann Wilson song on the album, right?
Right.
Yeah. Tell us about how did that come about that there's an Ann Wilson ballad or a duet basically on the album.
Right. Well, here's the thing. We would have never made the connection if we never did Sound of Silence because she was a fan of it. So
There it is. There it is.
no,
It brought people to the camp. Yeah.
you know what? We may have lost you on one song, but we gained Ann Wilson out of it.
Oh
So
no, Disturbed will never lose me. Disturbed will never lose me. Like I listen to the weirdest stuff. I'm a Weird Al Yankovic fan. I like the Andrews Sisters. I love the Alarm. I like, stuff that we don't play. But when it comes to the stuff that we play, Disturbed is. You're not going to lose me. That's my favorite.
I know. I know you guys. You guys are big supporters, and
I love Disturbed. I've loved it since. I mean, all the way back. So, but the Ann Wilson thing is interesting. Yeah.
She. I guess a few years back when we released Sound of Silence, somebody asked her in an interview, and she tweeted about it. That they said, "Is there anything new out there that she finds inspiring?" And she said, Disturbed, the Sound of Silence. So we were excited that she just mentioned the band name. We didn't, the fact that she knew who we were and existed was exciting enough for us because she's a living legend, one of the best, if not the best female rock vocalist out there, so that kind of opened the door to, her and David chatted a little bit through social media, just paying mutual respect and that. So when we started writing for this album and we had a different kind of, power ballad idea in the works. And I just didn't feel like it was quite there yet. I'm like, we're working on it. I'm like, it's going to take some time to really make this great. It was a good song, but I didn't feel like with it being the only power ballad on there, I didn't feel that it was great, at least at that point. So I said, you know what? I just want to start over. And I was in there with Drew Falk, our producer. I said, let's just start over. I feel creative today. And I just start working on the music to what ended up being Don't Tell Me. And it was just coming together really good. And when David came in the next time, I said, hey, we put the other song on the back burner. Listen to this. This is something new we were working on. And he just started, just right away scatting a melody, humming the melody over the parts. And it just sounded bigger. It sounded like this was the right move. And as he's kind of tweaking it and finalizing that melody, he's like, this sounds like it could be a duet. And how do you feel about maybe seeing if Ann Wilson would do it? And I'm like, absolutely. If she would be into it. I don't think it's something she does often and she doesn't need to do it. And, he reached out to her. She responded if she wants to do it. And so we're like, this is amazing. So we wanted to make it as easy on her as possible. So we said, you let us know where you have a hole in your schedule. We'll come to you or wherever you're at. And she was on the West Coast at the time. Me, David, and Drew flew out to San Francisco, and we found a studio more inland, I think either in Oakland or somewhere inland. And then met her. She came out totally professional, ready to work, ready to do whatever we asked of her. But we wanted to give her the freedom to do what she does as well. So we let her kind of work out the harmonies with David, which was just such a great moment. I'm sitting there in the control room, just watching the two of these, just trade these ideas vocally. And she came in there and she killed it. Her voice is still powerful. I mean, it was just really, really
and recognizable. You know it. You're like, wow,
right.
Yeah,
right. I mean, she still has the range. She still has, that identity to her voice. And between the two of them, I mean, David's got that identity to his voice too. So to hear the two of them sing together and be able to pick apart their voices and know who each one of them are, it was a cool moment. It was big. It was a badge of honor for us to have her, be part of this. So very cool.
The song is called Don't Tell Me. It's on the new Divisive album from Disturbed. Ann Wilson from Heart on that. And it's going to bring more people to the Disturbed camp like Sounds of Silence did. The record company's going to release it at some point as a single for that reason. And it's a great song. Do you see any chance of that she's going to pop up on stage at some point and be at a Disturbed show and do it live?
I have no idea. I haven't thought that far ahead. Of course, that
would be spectacular.
And, if it worked out, that would be amazing.
Yeah. I'd like to mention the album's called Divisive. It's out today from Disturbed, and I gotta ask, why of the 10 tracks, why did Divisive get to be the one that the album was named after? Are you going for some kind of message or some kind of theme there?
Well, it was one of the earlier song ideas, musically that came out when we first started writing. And then it's just the nature of the environment these days, and just, how divided we've become, and just
Yeah.
those people in power, um, it's just we become so much addicted to hatred these days, and
Right.
fighting with each other. And it's like instantly, it's like people wake up and they get on social media to say, what am I going to bitch about today? Who am I going to attack? Who's going to offend me today? And if you don't agree with what I believe, then you must be canceled, you must be fired from your job, we can't be friends. It just,
Right.
it's insane. So for us, we want to kind of, even for our first single, Hey You, on here, it was more of a wake-up call to that. For we're all kind of guilty of it. I've gone down that rabbit hole a couple times of like getting in an argument, or even with
It's hard
friends.
not to. It's hard not
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
And then I got to step back and say, is this really worth it? We're kind of letting it affect our friendships, and and I think it's just more of a wake-up call for us to take a step back, and instead of trying to find the things that divide us more and causes that hatred, to try to find that common ground, so we can function again as a society. And it's okay to have differences.
Disagree, right? I say it all the time. You don't have to become enemies over it. I have friends I disagree with, but we can disagree and we can discuss things, and we don't have to be jerks about it. On the air, I started this thing in January called More Fart Gun for You in 2022, and it's for that exact reason. It's the only thing I can think of where we're not divided on as a species. Everybody thinks farts are funny. And it sounds like I'm being like just a stupid morning show guy and doing fart jokes, low hanging fruit. But no, it's the one thing I can think of, like the Pope and like Saddam Hussein or whatever. Everybody thinks farts are funny. So I try and use my fart gun every day and say, look, we're the same. We might disagree on everything else, but at our core, we're the same.
Right.
We need to look for things like that. That's a shame that I can only find the one. Like with the pandemic and a plague and whatever, people are like, my side, your side. There shouldn't be sides. It should be all of us against whatever's killing people, and we should come to an understanding on how to help our fellow man. We should find things that are not divisive. So I love the theme of that with the album and what you're saying with that. It's a great message.
Yeah, and just touching on that a little bit more. It's like, okay, to have a difference of opinion, to debate it, it should be a chance for people, if you and I are debating and disagree on something, to educate each other of why we feel so strongly about something. And maybe we've learned something from each other, and we don't have to agree on it, but it's just, but nowadays it's like, well, if you don't agree, then you're wrong, and I hate you for it. And it just,
it's wrong.
We got to get a hold of ourselves here.
We're talking to Dan Donegan from Disturbed. The new album is out today, and it is called Divisive. And it's a good message. I got to do the fart gun now that I told you about it. Everybody thinks that's funny. Everybody. There are no sides on that, whether they admit it or not. Oh, you're doing fart jokes. Whatever. You think it's funny, you laugh quietly. So the album is out. So what's next for the band? Let's talk tour. Let's talk what are we doing with Disturbed? When are we coming to Chicago? When are you going to be here in studio with us?
Well, hopefully all in 2023. We have plans to do it. It's just right now, it's just working out the logistics with management, our booking agent, and the promoters. So on paper, the band is signed off and agreed to the things that we've seen, on the calendar and territories that we want to go. So we're just waiting for the thumbs up and the okay, because we've missed it. We haven't had a real, even though we've done a handful of shows here in 2022, bunch of festivals, and we only did like maybe 4 or 5 last fall. We haven't been out doing a proper full-on Disturbed tour so since 2019. So we're like excited that we're coming back. So we can't wait to get back on stage.
We can't wait to see. One of my favorite things is to do a Disturbed show. You get the record company guy handing you're standing there going, man, this is going to be too loud. And then the record, because we're right by the stacks, and the record company guy is like, here's some earplugs. So you put those in. It's still loud as hell, even with the earplugs in. But we're so close to the speakers, the Disturbed songs. I can feel the skin on my head, vibrating away from my skull as the songs are going, and just people in the crowd having a great time. So you're saying 2023, a big tour early on. You have something planned, but you can't tell me. Basically,
Well,
you guys are going to hit the road, and we're going to get you a few times around the block.
yeah, I mean, I wish I could tell you what we've seen on paper and what we agreed to, but like I said, things pop up, opportunities pop up. It's just about them working out the logistics and the routing of a tour. I mean, obviously, touring has become difficult, coming, post pandemic, because inflation and cost of touring, of trucking and buses and travel. Right. So I've seen a lot of bands having to back out and cancel on their tours due
China just canceled Europe.
Yeah, I've seen that. That was a bit disappointing. I know the guys are heartbroken over that. I mean, you don't like to have to cancel when it comes to logistics like that. When the band is healthy and strong and doing good, you want to get out there and play. So when you got obstacles, and have to jump through hoops to make it happen, it can be disappointing that when you have to back out on something like that. So
yeah, you guys are ready to roll in 2023, and we're looking forward to it. The band Disturbed, the new album is out today. If you go to the website disturbed1.com, they've got all sorts of cool stuff on there. The news, you can get the music there, the video, and everything. And we're really looking forward to hearing it and seeing it live, Dan. And kick around a couple of ideas, maybe a fart gun on stage, bring everybody together. I'll give you mine if you want when you're in town, and maybe the green eggs and ham thing going on. So
yeah, let's see. Now that's planted in my head. Maybe you bring your fart gun to the show, and we have a fart solo in there. And
there you go. I can do it. I can do that. I can do all of it. So we appreciate your time today. I got to tell you, I'm excited about the new album. I love the new album. Looking forward to seeing you guys live in Chicago as soon as possible. Dan, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today, and looking forward to seeing Disturb on the road, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks, brother, and thanks to WIIL Rock. You guys have been strong supporters with us for forever, and I can't thank you enough.